Yo, it's RoboCronus here. I'm going to show you how to dominate the Nuketown Gulag. Check it out. I'm going to take a look at the map. The map is essentially the middle section of Nuketown. So I've got this Nuketown map here, and we're just going to zoom in on the middle section, because that's what's really important here. So, essentially we have a bus, we have an RV looking thing, we have a sign, and a blown up car. So, if we're starting on the side with a sign, a lot of people have said that is a preferable spot. It seems like everybody thinks the sign is the go side, but I've really had success being on the other side, shooting at the sign. So, if we have a rifle or something that's going to reach across the whole map, then you can just take someone out pretty much from your spawn point. So there's a couple different plays we'll talk about here. So if we're facing that sign, my favorite play, and we're just going to call it play alpha, we're going to peek, shoot, right that sneak. So what we're going to do, we're going to peek out from our spawn. We're going to shoot that gap right between the sign and the building. And then if we don't hit them right there, we're going to switch over and shoot the right side of the sign, because they're either going to try to peek us through the sign, or they're going to move off to the right of that, to the right side of that sign, or they're going to move off to the. So what are the potentials if we don't hit them on both of those shots? So they have coverage if they're just pushing that far left side. So what we can do is, if we don't hit them on either of those, we can duck behind the burned out car and queue up on that left lane. So that's been working well for me, especially with rifles, things like that. But when we get down into the pistols and to the shotguns especially, we really need to close the gap a little bit, because those are only going to reach about halfway to the map. So you'll notice in each of those plays, one thing I really don't like to do is ever be head down. If I'm not looking directly at where they're coming from, heads up, head forward, I'm doing it just for a quick second to direct my slide. But really, especially in this gulag, you want to be facing forward as much as possible, right? You want to be receiving all that feedback, that visual feedback that you can. Whether it's the glint out of the left, knowing that you need to upstream and pre-aim, or it's that little glint that shows you that you need to pre-aim upstream a little bit, right when they turn that corner, or you see a little something out of the the back right, so you know where they're going, right? So the most important thing is to keep tabs on where they are. Now, if you can sneak around a little, make some moves, confuse them, but you still know where they are, you are in a much better position. So we want to keep an eye on where they are. And really, when it comes to gulags, the number one thing is get the first shot off. In my opinion, if you can land that first shot, you're going to win 9 times out of 10. Unless you're hitting them as they're crossing, they're getting down right into cover. Because a lot of times, gulags are over quick once that first shot goes off, right? A lot of times it doesn't come down to equipment. Sometimes it does. But most times it's about who gets their gun up on target first. So for that reason, we don't want to utilize tac sprint too much. We want to be pre-aiming as much as possible. And sometimes even pre-firing, right? So that play that I play alpha that I referenced earlier, I'll just pre-fire that gap in between the sign and the building. And if I don't hit, I'll just switch it up to the right side of the sign. So a couple of things we want to talk about. You can get up on the little canopies, the trellis, if you will, on both buildings. Now, I've seen people do this. I haven't seen it done really well. And one of the reasons for this is you are now visible from the entire map. So it's good if you can sneak it, and you can actually jump over onto the bus, I believe, from the trellis. But you have to do that without being seen, and then it's an advantage. But when you're high like that, and it's more specifically high and exposed, everywhere on the map has a shot at you, right? So just like with the sign shot, I catch people trying to peek me with the sign shot, right? So if you have a shot on somebody, they have a shot on you as well, right? So I used to play paintball competitively, and that's a good rule of thumb, right? If the snake has a shot on back corner has a shot on snake as well. And while the trellis is good because it has a vantage point on majority of the map, it's also bad because the majority of the map has the vantage point on the trellis. So if they see you going trellis, going canopy, whatever you want to call it, and you don't spot them first, they're probably going to win that match. So, two other things. You have some little barriers made of plywood. I've caught a lot of people trying to catch cover behind those, and you can really just shoot right through them. It's going to take probably a little bit of the damage off, but a couple shots through that, and you won your match, especially with a pistol or a rifle. So, last thing here is really more about coaching or having your teammates coach. It can be hard to find a good vantage point. So, I'm going to show you guys the vantage point that I found that works really well. So, we can see here, we can see pretty much the majority of the map. We can see their spawn, we can see our teammates spawn, we can see the middle, pretty much everything except the two opposing corners we can see really well. We can give really solid comms to our teammates, especially at the start. Hey, they're running deep left, they're going deep left, coming to you, or hanging out in his spawn, or running right, peeking sign, things like that. We can give really solid comms from this vantage point, and for that purpose, I like to use it. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You know you want to. Follow on the Twitch. We're playing Wednesday, Friday, 7:30 Central. Stay awesome. Right? peek and sign, things like that. We can give really solid comms from this vantage point, and for that purpose, I like to use it.